Early on in my internship here, Reverend David gave me a smooth, small stone with the word inspire inscribed on it. I held it and smiled and said, "I'm inspired." To which he said, "No, you inspire." I have thought about these words quite a lot in my time here at UUCF. I've had a job to do, to learn the role of minister, and not just the broader role of minister and ministry, but my role as minister and my call to ministry. My voice is what brought me into ministry. In seminary, when I felt strongly about something, I would speak up. I used to say, "I'm not in seminary to keep quiet." There was too much hurt and harm caused by hateful and idolic interpretations of a God I knew to be love, a God I knew was not in alignment with what I was witnessing through the actions and words of so many supposedly faithful people. I have a faith in a movement which speaks through artists and prophets, poets and preachers to reveal wisdom and hope for a more just and loving world. It is my faith that empowers me to use my voice. It is my voice which I found in the pulpit, and that brought me into ministry. Some of you know this, but last year I was the one who reached out to Reverend David and said, "Hey, could y'all use an intern?" I had been a very active member at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston for 12 years. My chaplaincy internship last year had been in Alexandria, and being that I was recently a stay-at-home mom up until I started my seminary career, and living in Herndon, I really wanted to be closer to home when that inevitable call came from the school and I would need to go collect my children. I knew Fairfax would be my best option if you all had space for me, and thank goodness you did. Especially as I was willing, happy, and privileged enough to work for 1/5 of the pay that you're supposed to pay an intern. Y'all can thank Cara Fortner for funding the bulk of this internship. Thank you, honey. I have learned so much this year, and I am incredibly grateful this congregation chose to be a teaching congregation and take on the responsibility of ushering me through the learning process of becoming a minister. I am especially grateful to my internship committee, Anthony Salvi, Diana Tyser, Susan Clark, Bennett, Christopher Dorley, and Peggy Hillman. They have been with me these 10 months, attending my classes, listening to my sermons, watching my ministry grow, and guiding me with honesty and care. I have been so moved by the passion, engagement, thoughtfulness, intelligence, and true welcoming that is so apparent in this congregation. You all, this community, is a beautiful one, and your leaders are insanely talented and committed. Stacy Casey's leadership as your president has been incredible to witness as she and the board ushered us through the Living the Mission process, among a multitude of other administrative and visionary tasks. Your leadership and nominating committee, led by Nancy Rooney, I saw her here, Nancy's here, and Han Michael, it's doing incredible work to develop engaged, confident, and supported leaders. The coordinating team with Robin and Daryl, Bill and Gayatri, the lay ministers, Susan, Peter, Ashley, Laura, Tim, the pastoral care team, the Unite for Justice and ACT groups, the religious exploration and family ministry team, the worship committee, the membership committee. these are all ministries of this congregation, made up of lay leaders doing shared, collaborative work in the movement of our sustaining and hopeful faith. It has been so enriching and nourishing for me to learn here in this healthy system with a fabulous staff and engaged volunteers. Reverend David has done a wonderful job as my mentor as I find my footing moving out of the role of engaged lay leader and into the role of minister. I am finishing up my time here with you all, and I have learned a lot, learned so much. But this year was a different kind of learning than what I've experienced deep in my books and lectures at school. I have a colleague and a friend who calls her time in seminary her monastic years. My youngest was 3 when I started seminary, so I can't claim the same framework. Though I did go and have into incredibly introspective spaces and spent hours and hours studying, reading, writing, praying, and discerning. Study is a prayerful act, a spiritual practice that has enabled me to know myself better, to be able to embody the authenticity one would hope a minister would embody. This year, as I said, I had to learn the role of minister, and that's an important thing to figure out because all of the people who come into a church have their own ideas about what a minister is or should be. And I have to know who I am as a minister and what I am called to do in my ministry. My ministry sounds almost as ridiculous to me as the idea that I can now officially call myself a master of divinity. Thank you. What strange things to claim ownership over or mastery over. The greatest lesson from my time here is that ministry is always shared. I knew this coming out of Reston. As I said, I was a very engaged lay leader there. I had chaired a number of committees, strategic planning committee, stewardship campaigns, worship committee. I'd been preaching for 9 years at Reston, maybe once or twice a year. I knew ministry was shared, and I had to move out of the framework of being that lay leader, the committed, loving, wonderful lay leader who makes up so much of the church, and into the role of into the framework of the spiritual leader, the wise counsel, the soothsayer, the clergy person, the one with holy responsibility, the leader, the servant, the reverend. And I want to do this job well. And I imagine I will continue to learn and grow in all the ways. I know I am not a master of anything, but certainly a lover of people and our hope for the world. My ministry is rooted in faithful pluralism, that idea that if the movement of love has been working in the hearts of creatures across time and space, that there is some shred of truth in their various expressions of it. From the first time and multitudes of times that a fist was raised to the heavens in anguish, crying, "Why?" The desire to understand and make meaning from this experience of life has transcended every conceivable identity one may have. There is a oneness to us. This web of existence, this bundle of mess, hope, terror, and joy. And that is where my ministry is rooted. And what a time to be entering ministry. David keeps reminding me. Fascism and authoritarianism are real threats to our freedoms. Patriarchy and white supremacy are still ruling the main stage of our time in history. We have so much healing to do. 400 years of chattel slavery followed by 100 years of Jim Crow. The gender gap in terms of labor remains a far cry from equal, which seems pale in comparison to the years of injustice against women's rights over our own bodies. Because certainly women belong either to their fathers, their husbands, or their children as virginal epitomes of virtue, objects of sex, domination, or servitude, or nurturing compassionate martyrs. Not to mention the violence waged against women in the name of these relegated roles. Technology has brought us ever closer to each other across oceans, while it pushes neighbors and families apart, keeping us in social media silos, which affirm our worldviews, keeping us disengaged from the people in the physical spaces around us, and manipulating the way we think and feel about a myriad of things, important things. Especially after COVID, we face a special kind of insidiousness in its pervasive and comfortable nature online, available from the couch, the bed, anywhere really. Congregations are faith communities, and our faith calls us deeply, innately to resistance and rejection of that which causes harm, that which keeps the poor from living well and the meek from living with strength. The faith which affirms each person's worth and dignity. I have thought often about the story of Adam and Eve, and I have decided after a lot of thinking that the story is certainly about the fact that people are going to do what we are going to do, no matter what we're told or by whom. We are going to yearn, hunger for the fruit of knowledge. We are going to eat from it as long as it is available to us. We are resistors to captivity and adherents to authority and dictatorship at the expense of our own freedoms. I hope this resistance is strong in us. And my ministry is with assuredness going to remind us of the power to make choices through our exercise of our own free will. I hope we can resist the powers that would divide us and pull us apart, allowing us to believe the other is anything less than ourselves. That difference is to be feared, scapegoated, carted away, or destroyed. I hope we can resist the temptation of easy comfort and wrestle ourselves towards helping others through a faithful call to witness, love, and justice. I hope while we do this often difficult work, which might cast us out of beautiful, seemingly perfect places like the Garden of Eden, that we are to hold each other in community with joy. As Theodore Parker wrote, "Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love." In seminary, I learned that a sacrament is an outward sign of an inward grace, and that Unitarian Universalists see life itself as a sacrament. We are called from a holy truth in this world to live an embodied faith that doesn't rely on specific language or a particular theology, rather the loving action which expresses and affirms love, that we are each holy, good, and deserving. We are what the world needs, as Amanda Gorman's poem said this morning. We need each other to do this work that the world needs. My call, which is rooted in our oneness, leads me to the conclusion that we must rely on each other, that we need each other to lean on, to show a little bit of love to lift up and step aside for. People are my ministry, and my role as minister is to inspire us to live faithfully, affirming each other's and our own worth. I had left my internship as the final step of my ministerial formation purposely, as I was guided to do this in my seminary, and it made sense in my mind. Go serve in some capacity as a minister in training once I actually have some education behind my belt. I hope I have been able to serve this community well, while I have been nurtured and shown grace in this place of learning, for I have certainly made mistakes. In my time here, I have learned that I can rely on my husband to be my partner, and he can pick the kids up from school when that inevitable call comes. I have learned that my voice, which brought me to ministry, is my strength, and I will use it with faithful responsibility, rooted in the oneness of our spirit, which transcends and can overcome obstacles of identity to land us in a nurturing and receptive space in which flourishing, not just peace, is a reality for all. I hope I have inspired you while remaining connected to that which inspires me, to live our faith joyfully in this broken and beautiful world. Thank you.